Hello. Welcome to our live. So today I'm going to be talking about us or you working remotely and not getting promoted. So as you can see, I'm actually in the car for this because I felt like since we're talking about working remotely, I'm going to work remotely right here in this environment. But let's talk about this, right? What happens when we are remote employees? It's actually a lot harder to stay engaged, to communicate, to build relationships, to think of everything that you have to do through the computer. And what we know about humans, about ourselves, is that we love in-person interactions. We love to communicate because why? We see the body language, we see facial expressions, and people don't really have a choice, right, of hiding their faces, whereas with Zoom, you do have a choice of turning off your computer, whether you're using Zoom or Teams or anything like that. But let's talk about the adverse effect of virtually working. I know a lot of people love virtual work environments, and yes, it's absolutely great, but in this group, what I do want to teach each of you is to become A players and to succeed in your careers and get promoted and make a lot of money. And the reality of it is that a lot of remote workers are really overlooked. I know that things have changed with COVID, but that doesn't make it any better. Does not make it any better. So what happens, right? Say you are working remotely, you don't have a choice of going in the office, and you want to show your management that, hey, look, I'm over here. Hello, don't forget about me. I'm right here behind my computer helping and supporting you, yet no one's really paying attention. So here's some of the things that you can do. Number one, in terms of working remotely, the key here is to always be that squeaky wheel, right? A lot of times when we work remotely, we're behind our computers, we tend to stay quiet. We're like, oh, this person just talked, I can't really chime in, or so-and-so just talked and I can't really chime in. You're going to have to find that opportunity where your voice comes through in the midst of everyone else on that Zoom meeting. That is very, very, very important that you do speak up at some point, and so how do we do that, right? Let's talk about that. Say that you're in the middle of a meeting, and what's happening is that everyone's talking about some sort of project, maybe project risk management or the status of a project. And you can say, hey, I just spoke to John about this. I'm so glad that you guys brought this up because I believe, or I agree, or I think this is an approach that we should do. Whatever it is, speak up and make sure that they understand. Number two, when you are a remote worker, you must dress up, look the part as if you're in the office. Do your hair, wear a beautiful shirt, whether you're a guy or girl, definitely do the part for your job, right? If it's a tie, put on a tie or a nice dress shirt, polo shirt. If you're a girl, make sure that you're well dressed and you're being professional. Pick the right colors for your skin tone. For example, for me, when I wear the black colors, it makes me look more tired because I do have circles under my eyes. And so the black resonates to the dark circles. So be careful of the colors that you're wearing, right? And so generally brighter colors, no one ever talks about this, but brighter colors is what's really going to get someone's attention. Do your hair, put on your makeup, put a little bit of lipstick on, or if you're a girl or if you're a guy, you like putting lipstick on, that's totally fine too. But whatever it is, make sure that you're feeling and looking your very best in front of that camera. And number three, don't be camera shy. There's no reason that you need to be shy. I know a lot of us don't like how we look on camera. And believe it or not, it has taken me over 2 years to be this comfortable in front of the camera. But how am I coming in front of the camera? I have my red lipstick on. I have a little bit of concealer on. I did my hair because I want to be presentable. And I want to make sure that those that I'm interacting with, the first thing they see is my face, that they also feel like, okay, Majuba's up to par and she's ready to communicate with us. So really important in terms of looking the part for yourself, looking the part for others, so that others are paying attention to you. They don't really see you as saying, oh, this person just showed up 50% to work. And part of also being a remote worker is that after every meeting, if you have a deliverable or if there was an action item that you needed to do, then you need to do a follow-up. Send an email, say, hey guys, I had a great meeting. And as a follow-up, here's everything that I understand that I'm supposed to complete. Right? A, B, C, and D, please let me know if there's something I missed. And this just confirms that not only were you paying attention, but you were taking notes, and that you were actually ready to take action. And so that shows management, your team members, that you're a true leader, that you're not someone who's BSing, someone who's watching TV in the background or busy on their phone, being on Facebook or anything like that, that you're truly engaged. And so at that time, when you are in your Zoom meetings, turn all the distractions around you off so you can focus on what it is that you need to focus on, right? You need to focus on that meeting at hand and take action items. So have your notepad and a piece of paper ready to take your notes. So again, what have we covered so far? Number one, we said look the part, be presentable, have your camera on, and make sure that you are dressing the part for your job. And then number three, take notes, right? Don't allow the distractions around you to take the best out of you. And who does this? This is what A players do. This is what amazing career professionals do, because you're not like everyone else, right? You're the kind of person that's striving to be above the food chain. And that's what this is all about. How do you get above the food chain? How do you get promoted? And so the only way that you can get promoted as a career professional who's working remotely and doesn't have a choice of being in person is by being the squeaky wheel, is by following up, by engaging with your coworkers. And that's another thing, right? Building relationships is as important, is so much more important actually when you're working remotely than it is in person. Here's what happens. People forget your name. They forget who you are. They're like, oh, Majuba joined the meeting. And then since, you don't come into the office, since and that's okay. I'm not saying remote work is bad or good. It is what you have to do. And this is just a part of how do we get promoted if we work remotely. The other thing you have to do is build relationships with each individual members of your team and external to your team. So what does that mean? Knowing every single person's name, first name and last name, putting a face to their names, meaning connecting with them on LinkedIn so you're aware of who you're working with and what their credentials are. Then meeting with them and sending them an email and saying, hey, look, John, I heard you say this great thing today on the meeting. I want to pick your brain a little bit. Do you have a moment for us to have that conversation? So then set up a time where you will do like a 15-minute conversation about who you are. Talk about your families if that's what you feel comfortable about. Connect a little bit on the personal level, which is what's going to distinguish you from every other Joe Schmo. Because every other Joe Schmo, their attitude's going to be like, I don't really care to get to know John. I just did my work. I did what I'm supposed to. My deliverables have been submitted. I don't really need to do much more than that. But you're different. You're different. You are an A player. You want to get ahead. You want to get promoted. You want to be the person that is going to shine and be very different than every other person on your team. So these were all of the tricks of being engaged inside with you in your project and with your team members and with your manager. And that's the next part of this is your manager, right? There's 3 pieces to remote work that's essential to your success. 1, looking the part, staying engaged, having the camera on, obviously looking great, and that's the looking the part. Part 2 is connecting with your team members, right? So they know your first name, they know where you live, they know what you like to eat and all of that, and vice versa. So building those leadership skills with your team is also important. And these things can actually go for both in person or remote. Thirdly is building a relationship with your manager. Building a relationship with your manager is basically not only essential to you getting promoted, but it's essential to you keeping your job. One of the first people that ever get let go in most instances are the individuals that work remotely, are individuals that HR never sees, are individuals that the manager really never talks to, only if they're maybe in trouble or if there's a deliverable due. So how about we turn that around, right? Building a relationship with your manager means for you to be proactive and for you to go ahead and set up that meeting with them to say, touch point, 15-minute touch point every 2 weeks. And what do you exactly talk about in those touch points? That's when you're going to have an authentic conversation with your manager. Hey, John, let me tell you all these wonderful things that I'm working on, A, B, C, and D. Here's some of my roadblocks that I wanted to talk to you about. Point those out in a very professional, political manner. Watch for your tone and all of that. I always talk about tone, and I always talk about composure, and I always talk about, politically being correct, because when you work in a corporation, remember, all it is, it's an exchange of skills that you're selling to this company, and in return for that, they're paying you. So there's really no reason to ever get very personal or emotional when you're at work, because it's an exchange. Your skills, you're getting paid for your skills. So therefore, if you're having an issue that is creating a roadblock, just communicate that over with your manager in a way where they understand how it is impacting your productivity. What else are you going to talk to your manager about in these touch points, twice a week touch points? You're also going to get their opinion of how you're doing. And this is exactly what you need to ask. Hey, I just want to get your opinion. How do you think I'm doing? And where could I improve? Right? And this is essential. Where can I improve? Because what you're going to hear at that point, it will tell your manager that you're open to critique and you're open to growth, which is essential to any career professional's path to success, is asking the question, how am I doing? Where do you see me improving? And I kid you not that those questions are going to have you and your manager, you're going to build such an amazing relationship, because it's going to show to them that you have the maturity level to actually be open to some things that you can improve. And it makes them feel comfortable to mentor you, to coach you. So it is okay to ask that question. You may hear things that you were surprised about, but isn't it good to know it? Then maybe get an email later to say, hey, Majuba, you know what? I didn't like how you did that deliverable, and we need you to correct it. And you've made this mistake 4 or 5 times. I haven't said anything, and I'm saying it now. Well, what if we were proactive in asking how you could improve, and so that you can avoid some of those pitfalls, right? There's always these huge pitfalls in corporations because we have individuals and managers who lack communication skills. Because you don't lack them, you stay proactive and you stay ahead of the game. So for those that just joined, there's 3 pillars of staying successful when you're working remotely. And these pillars are going to make sure that you get promoted and that you're not looked at as a stepchild who, exists on another side of the state and no one really pays attention to. And this can work whether you are in person, whether your entire team is remote, right? But I always say this. Everyone in this group, you guys are all A players. You're not like everyone else. That's why you're here, because you want to learn. I'll tell you, 90% of people don't want to learn. And so the fact that you're here is because you have the drive and that you're different than everyone else. So 3 different pillars. How do I get promoted? Number 1, presentation. Keep your camera on, look the part, dress the part, talk the part, and keep your composure. Don't be distracted at all. Keep the phone to the side, keep TV off, and all of that jazz that we talk about. Number 2, build relationships with each of your team members, every single person. If there's 10 of them, you're going to meet with each of them. If there's 15 of them, you're going to meet with all of them. If it's 3, doesn't matter. You're going to build a relationship with every single person, because guess what? When it comes down to layoffs, when it comes down to something going wrong, 50% of those coworkers will back you up. How would you like a team of people who support you in your progress? Number 3, and the most important one, is to build a relationship with your manager. Don't be silent. Ask them the right questions. How am I doing? Where can I improve? And what do you expect from me? How am I doing? Where can I improve? And what do you expect from me? So this is going to set you apart. I hope you guys all enjoy this training. I'm doing it remotely as well, right? But I'm here, I'm engaged, I'm delivering to you. And you guys, I'm proud of each and every one of you. Let me know what questions you have. And thank you again for joining the live training. And I'm excited for next week. Take care.